Well, welcome to Decaf from the mountains. Mark and I are in Gatlinburg for doing some work things right now, and we found this great spot. It's good. Well, you can't see over our chairs, but
it's a good view.
there's a beautiful mountain view behind us.
No bears, but a good view.
Unfortunately, no bears. We did try to go on a bear hunt last night after Mark had a few Bud Lights and I had a few glasses of wine.
I downloaded a bear app to make bear sounds to say they come there, which I mean was a terrible idea because they did come. I don't know how I deal with it, but yes, but
the bears had arrived.
I downloaded the Predator Sounds app, so if you want that,
we thought it was so funny. 600 predator sounds.
Yeah, a lot of different predators.
And when you think about that, you're like, are there 600 predators? And if so, do we want to know what they sound like?
No, the answer is no. We heard a lot of weird animal sounds that we were not expecting.
Imagination there. It was just a very strange thing. But we love being in different parts of the state. We did this a lot last year when we were talking about going local. We're going to go kind of hit the town in a safe way tonight, safe COVID-friendly way tonight.
We're going to have masks on and we're going to go snow tubing.
Yes, we're going to go snow tubing outside tonight over Gatlinburg. And I'm going to ride a ski lift up over the nature animal reserve and hope to see a bear in a safe place and not in a driveway where we thought it would be really funny to see a bear last night.
Maybe a few less Bud Lights tonight, so we're not calling them. But we'll see what happens.
There will be no red wine for me tonight, at least not before. And I will force myself to stay inside after that. So this was an exciting thing this week, but next week I think is my favorite week of the year for Beacon because our annual pork report comes out next week. And that's something, this is the 15th year of the pork report. I've only been here for 2 years. Mark, this is your
7th year.
7th year at Beacon. And so he gets really jazzed
great words
about the pork report every year. Mark, you want to give any little teasers?
Well, I mean, I think so. You've been here for 2 years, so I mean, this is your third, maybe second pork report or third pork report.
This is the third one I've written in. Yeah.
So I think that this is our best one ever. I really do. It's the shortest. We only have 12 of them, but I think we have some funny titles. We have a good 12 Days of Christmas thing. And
explain the layout. It's 3 statewide, 3 from East Nashville, 3 from Middle
East
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah, 3 from East Nashville. There is 3 from East Nashville easily.
Yes. 3 from East Tennessee, 3 from Middle Tennessee, and 3 from West Tennessee. So we break it up, and then we have 3 bonus entries to make the total go from 12 to 15 for the 15th year, and it's our 3 favorite ones from the last few years.
Yeah, so it's the 50th anniversary, so yeah, we have our 3 favorite ones ever. I know that I did the logo. I was between that and the water park for me, but the Tennessee State logo, which is the problem. I know that I think Justin did the mega site, the West Tennessee mega site, and we had the Hemlock Semiconductor, which is the big one.
Which was just, oh gosh.
But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in it, and we did less this year, but I think that there are better entries. And there's some interesting ones. I mean, I don't think we want to give too much away, but the Nashville tax increase was in there.
Oh, absolutely.
We had some good statewide ones, though, too. I know there's some no-bid mask contracts.
Which, that was really fun to write.
And there may be a financial guru from the state who is in there for taking some tax dollars. I will not say who, but you will see on Tuesday.
I think you might be able to guess.
Yeah, there's not a lot of financial gurus here around, but it's a really great report this year. I think it's one of our best, and it's going to be available Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on our website.
Mm-hmm. And we'll post the link all over Facebook, but it'll be at beacontn.org/pork2020.
And we'll send you, I mean, we always, this is our most famous annual report. We get a ton of media, so we'll send you the media hits too, and we'll see some of the different municipalities and governments that complain about us doing this because they don't like being called out, but that's what we're here for.
But, like, we're upset that you're spending money irresponsibly,
yes.
So, like,
correct.
This is
we'll call it even.
It's give and take here. So, yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really pumped about that. So stay tuned for that. On the note of spending money and being responsible, I really want to have kind of a bigger conversation today about personal responsibility, especially when it comes to how our elected officials treat us. So last week in Nashville and in a lot of other cities across the country, mayors put their fist down and did something that I really don't think they should be able to do, which is the rules of 8. Only 8 people in your house, and there were all the funny memes that we talked about on a couple podcasts ago about, like, hey, Karen, I see you open up, it's the SWAT team, I see you took a turkey inside that feeds 12. Like, you can't do that. And so we had to deal a lot with people contacting us and saying, how is this possible? Doesn't this completely, like, derail everything about property rights? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Mark, but there's other things that have happened with personal responsibility lately. There was the governor or the mayor of New York, which one, saying that churches couldn't meet, and that went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said
the governor,
churches can meet. And then there was,
and unfortunately it was too late. That's the problem too. Like,
I know.
The Supreme Court of New York struck down this idea that churches could meet, but it's after the restrictions were already lifted. So it's like, that it's great that we found it was unconstitutional. But, like, how is he getting punished for doing something unconstitutional? And now they can go back to church. So, like, all those weeks they lost the church, or they're gone.
There's
there's
no
nothing they can do.
accountability there. And then there was the issue of Ilhan Omar today, the Congress. Where is she from? Michigan?
No, Minnesota.
No, that's where Rashida Tlaib is from.
Oh God.
Omar.
No, Rashida Tlaib's Michigan.
The squad.
Omar is Minnesota. I promise.
Okay.
She's right. She's in Minneapolis.
Okay. So she tweeted today and said cancel rent and mortgage payments, and it just goes to the idea of canceling student loans and making colleges free. If you make a choice to buy a house, you're making a choice to assume a mortgage. If you make a choice to live in a house that has a rent payment, I could live with my mom forever, but I don't want to. I want to live on my own, so I'm making a choice to live in a house with rent payment. I know not everyone gets to make that choice, but at the same time, there's an element of personal responsibility that I feel like a lot of government officials, especially on the left, honestly, are just completely ignoring.
I think the most unfair thing is talking about canceling whatever. Like, when you say cancel, what does that mean? It means somebody has to pay for it.
It means we pay for it.
If you cancel rent, that means that anybody who's a landlord can't live, and then somebody's going to bail them out. So it ends up being us paying money. So when people say free or canceling student loan debt, it's not canceling. It's shifting the burden of the person who actually benefited from it to the people who didn't benefit from it and just happen to be taxpayers. And it's really disingenuous to say cancel or free. Or when they say, oh, this shouldn't cost money, it's like, yes, it should cost money. Otherwise, we wouldn't have it. And that's the thing people don't understand.
Well, I think it's all of these people that say that they want to cancel this and cancel that. People on the right typically come back at them and say, well, you don't understand economics. They're like, I understand economics. I totally understand economics. Well, the first thing that I learned in my first economics class in 10th grade was there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yep.
And if my dad hadn't taught that to me before, that would have been the first time I'd heard it, and I would have been 16, and it would have been a lesson learned. But everyone knows there's no such thing as a free lunch. Now, we do believe in charity. We do believe in giving. We think that philanthropists often do really great work, helping people out who need help, and that's a beautiful thing. But when it's forced, it takes the beauty out of, like, I give my money where I want to give it, and I'm sorry, I don't want to give it to someone's liberal arts degree. That ain't it.
My favorite part about the college thing is that I saw a thing about what basically canceling $10,000 or $50,000 off a student loan would do, and it helps the top 20% and hurts the bottom 20% the most, because the people who go to the most expensive schools are the people in the top 20% economically. So this is something that the left says is fair, and all it is doing is helping the very rich people that they say that they hate and hurting the very poor people they say they're out there to protect. So it's like, even if it is well-intentioned, which I think we can argue, I'm not sure it is, but even if it is, it's not doing what you think it is, and that seems to be a big problem. I don't want to just blame, because the right does it too, but it seems to be a big problem with the left, is that even if it's well-intentioned, it doesn't matter what your intentions are, it matters what the effect is. And the effect would be disastrous. You cannot cancel, and it's unfair. And it's unfair no matter what kind of great intention you have. It's not fair, and it's not good for the economy.
And as it gets more and more out of hand, I know we've talked about Justin's blog post that he did last week on mandates, and talking about how the more government mandates there are, you can't go to church. Well, that's blatantly unconstitutional. You can't have more than these many people in your house. Well, that violates my property rights and the sovereignty of my home on this property. You can't do this, you can't do that. The more of these mandates there are, the less people are going to take them seriously. And that's just undermining the government. And I am kind of a Ron Swanson, if you want to put me on like the TV characters, like politics thing. I'm more like that, where I'm like, well, then let them undermine themselves. But there will be times when we need to take our elected officials seriously, and all they're doing is hurting themselves and hurting us in the process. And
but the good news is they don't even take themselves seriously. They do an order, and then they go and eat at the very same place that they said they weren't, that no other people are allowed, or they're going to shut down gyms and they go to the gym anyway. So like, they're not even taking their order seriously.
They're going to go to church or graduations or whatever.
How are we supposed to take them seriously if they won't even follow their own rules?
We can't. What does Suzanne say all the time? She says, mask for thee, but not for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what's happening right now. And so I think that as coronavirus continues, as we keep dealing with this, there's going to have to be an element of personal responsibility. That's what we've dealt with in my family. My sister is working with special needs kids as a speech pathologist graduate student, and when Mom and I go to restaurants, my sister doesn't go. Like, she has taken personal responsibility on herself to say, the restaurant shouldn't be shut down, and I can't make y'all not go, but I'm just not going to go because I don't want to risk being exposed. Sure. And that's the kind of thing that we need to put in place, rather than saying you can't have these many people in your home for Thanksgiving. We can say, if you're going to have this many people in your house, consider getting tested, be cognizant of COVID exposures.
Be an adult. Be an adult and be an individual, and do what you think is right for your family.
Yes.
Without the government
people
forcing
around you. And the government shouldn't be able to force you, but that's a whole nother thing. But I just think as we're in this season of holiday celebrations, there's such an overstepping of the government trying to like wipe our noses and act like we're children, and we're not. Yeah. And so personal responsibility, I think, is important in this time and in all times. And don't cancel student loan debt because it hurts people. That's the end of my rant for today. Last thing I want to talk about, I don't know if you've actually stayed up to date on this, Mark, the monolith
I don't even
that was found in Utah.
Oh, okay. I saw one thing about it. It's like, okay, so I don't even know what I know what monolithic means. I don't know what a monolith is.
So there, a few weeks ago, and Mark knows this because I dressed up in like a kidnapped from Area 51 costume last year for Halloween. But I just think that the whole controversy and conversation around aliens, I think it's so interesting. I don't know what I believe, but I think it's all very interesting.
That makes one of us.
A couple of weeks ago, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, maybe it was last week, a huge metal slab, which they are calling the monolith, showed up in this natural park in Utah, yep. In the middle of nowhere. I believe there weren't any fingerprints on it. They dusted it for fingerprints, and so it wasn't really an art installation. No one knew what it was. Then it disappeared and showed up somewhere else, either the next night or a few days later. Now, it just so happened that I was reading a book called An Absolutely Remarkable Thing that was about the same thing, about aliens planting robots in New York City and all around the world at the same time. Now, I spiraled on this, as I tend to do, but I don't know, Mark, you always say that I'm like a tinfoil hat, I'm kind of insane. Yeah. But, like, am I insane for thinking this might be aliens?
There's a 99% chance that somebody is messing with people like you who will believe in aliens. I mean, it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's people who do this because they think it's funny. Like every time you see an alien thing, it's like, okay, it's explainable by something else. And I can't say with 100% certainty that aliens or like other life forms, because I guess aliens could be real, but like in a different way. But other life forms, like 99%, they are not real. There's not these like little creatures like in Signs or whatever that are doing that. And I feel pretty confident about that. But you like to be a conspiracy theorist, and you like to go down these rabbit holes, and it's interesting and it's fun to think about.
I do.
You're probably wrong, but I can't say 100% you're wrong.
But I will defend myself and say about 99 to 100% of the time, I realize I'm wrong as it's coming out of my mouth and as I'm researching it. Like, I know that I'm being irrational.
Yeah, when you research on blog or Bob's blogspot.conspiracytheories.org, it's probably not like...
Or like birdsaren'treal.com.
Birds aren't real. I believe that's a thing. But people like this, right? Like that's why they make so many movies about aliens. Like people people kind of want to think that it could be a possibility. And maybe it is, but like it's entertainment, and if that's all it is, like it's all good fun.
And it's a happy
You can think
distraction.
the dumbest thing. Aliens, the thing is, if they are real, are they mean or good? Like I don't think people are settled on that.
In the book that I read, they're good aliens. They're
in
nice
a lot of movies,
aliens.
they're not. They kill people.
I know, they kill people. Like Predator, like Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Like that was scary.
Also the one with Will Smith for Independence Day. Right?
Were those aliens? Jiggy with it, but that's
a song, not at all.
Right.
At all. That's
I'm about to get fired.
Yeah,
from this
getting
podcast.
jiggy with it. Yeah.
It's not it.
There should be aliens in the video. That'd be cool.
Independence Day, exactly. Yes. I just think that it's a happy distraction. I talked about this with Stephanie a couple weeks ago, but all of these TV shows that have the COVID storylines, that it's like I go to TV to escape reality, and now you're putting these COVID storylines in, and I'm so sick of it.
In fairness, how many murder documentaries do you watch?
Okay.
That's reality too, so I don't feel like that's completely true.
I know.
Saying.
I'm completely the kind of girl that will watch murder documentaries all day, every day, and then sleep perfectly well at night. But if I watch something like Signs, which is not real at all, I will never sleep again. But I just think that this monolith thing is interesting. I totally think there's something we don't know, and people are like punking all of society. But I think it's a welcome distraction from the monotony of life right now, which is like take out food and not go.
I love takeout food. That's kind of like I love that my life's like this. Before we go, I know this is great, but I want to give a shout out to my parents. They just celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary.
Hey, what's up?
Deanna and Mark Sr. So congratulations to them. And they went out to dinner and had a great time.
We do love them. Happy anniversary, Cunningham's. I'm sorry for you have had to deal with this for so long.
Yeah, I mean that was obviously their biggest mistake, me. But otherwise, like, it's been a good marriage, so good for them.
I wasn't gonna go that far.
My sister's great. They like her.
Yeah,
so
Colleen's wonderful. Yeah, we love her. Well, happy anniversary, guys. Y'all stay tuned for the Pork Report next week. I'm really excited. I got to write some fun ones. Mark got to write some crude ones. We're really pumped about that. So stay tuned, and we will see you for a special Pork Report episode next week.